on Power Talk AM 1460 and FM 101.1. Streaming worldwide on iHeartRadio. Jan Price talks to the movers and shakers in the film business. The Jan Price Show.
You're listening to The Jan Price Show, and today my guest is writer-director Brett Haley, and we're going to be talking about his brand new movie that's just coming out called Hearts Beat Loud. Welcome, Brett.
Hi, Jan. Thanks for having me.
Well, you're welcome. How are you today?
I'm good. I am excited about sharing this movie with everyone, to be honest with you.
And you should be. I saw it at Sundance, and I fell in love with it, and it's just a wonderful movie, so I was very excited when your publicist reached out to have you on the show, and so I'm looking forward to talking about this and also talking about your career in general. What I always like to start off with is, tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into this business.
Well, I've always wanted to be a director, a storyteller for, since I can remember. When I was little, I didn't really understand that directing movies was a job. I think kids nowadays are very savvy that film directing is an option for them. When I was a kid, I loved movies, but I didn't really understand that it was a job. But what I did was draw comic books, and I was an avid toy person where that was sort of like my epic storytelling was told via toys and figurines, and I spent a lot of time doing that. And in high school, I was heavy into theater as an actor in musical theater, and I started making films. I started making films when I was probably around 12. I picked up a VHS camera, and I made my first feature-length film when I was 16 years old.
Really?
And on VHS, I cut it tape to tape. I made it with all my friends over the summer, and then every summer from 16 to about 21, 22, I made a feature-length film every summer.
That's amazing.
Sometimes I would make 2 feature films. I'd make it over winter break, or I'd make it, we had a week downtime at school. I went to the North Carolina School of the Arts. I'd make a film. So for me, it was always the love of just the doing, just picking up a camera, working with my friends who happen to be great actors, and just making stuff. So it's been a part of my DNA since I can remember, just the desire and the need, really, to create and to tell stories. So the fact that I get to do it now as a career is I have to pinch myself sometimes and just go, wow, I'm really lucky.
I love it when people follow their passion, and the fact that you realized at an early age what your passion was, and now you're fulfilling your dream. It's always exciting. What was your first movie that you actually...
that I actually put out, right? That I actually thought was good enough to kind of get out there. It's called The New Year, and I grew up in Pensacola, Florida, and I shot a little movie for about $5,000 in Pensacola, Florida with my friends. I just got a credit card and I maxed it out, and the max was $5,000, so that's what I spent, because that's what I could spend. And I was coming off of reading Cassavetes on Cassavetes, and I was very inspired by sort of his theory of look, you can make a movie fancy and have bells and whistles and do all of these things, but at the end of the day, what's important is the performance and the script and the story, and you don't need much to do that. He really was the pioneer of independent cinema and made things happen for very little money. So I was very inspired by that. And I made this little movie called The New Year. We shot it in about 12 or 13 days in Pensacola, Florida. I got all the locations for free. All the actors were friends of mine, either from college or from my hometown. And that film, didn't blow up right away. It was a long, it never really blew up. It sort of had a long path. And it premiered at the Sarasota Film Festival. It won the Audience Award there, which was a big deal because no one was expecting this little movie to do that. And we won the Audience Award, and then we went to the Los Angeles Film Festival where we were in competition and did very well there, and then it got digital distribution from that. It also played in New York. It played in a theater in New York. So we got a New York Times review and a Variety review, and it was really exciting. People really enjoyed the film, and it was sort of the beginning of me understanding that I could make smaller films that were of quality, and I sort of started going down that path. It was an educational process for sure.
That is very exciting, and to get that much play out of the movie, no pun intended. When it was your first movie and did it for $5,000, that's really amazing. Where did you go from there? after you did the New Year. And can people see the New Year? Is it anywhere that people can find it?
You can still rent and purchase the New Year on iTunes and other kind of video on demand services, online services. So iTunes is the easiest one to go. You can rent it or purchase it on there. So it is still available to watch, and you can see my early work, like what $5,000 can do for you.
Yeah.
If you're thrifty about it. And
so you know how to work with budgets. Obviously, you've learned at an early age how to work with a small budget.
Correct, and very quickly as well. All of my films have been for not much money and then for very little money, which is fine. You find that there's a creative kind of residual effect when you don't have much time or money, because you really have to look at what is important to tell your story. So it's a blessing and a curse all at the same time. If you have everything you want at your disposal, sometimes the creative part can get a little lost because you're not being forced to look at your story and say, what is necessary to tell this? What is 100% essential? And that's what having little time and little money will do for you. So that is how I've kind of operated in my career, and just learning that to embrace that rather than fight against it.
Yeah. Do you write all of your scripts?
I'm a co-writer on everything that I've done up to this point. My last 3 films have been with Mark Bash. I wrote The New Year with my sister-in-law, very talented writer named Eliza Kennedy. She's a novelist and very, very talented, and she wrote The New Year with me. And after The New Year was sort of the downtime in my 20s, that was very difficult because I was trying to get another movie made, and I just couldn't. There was just no path for me. While The New Year did well, I just couldn't get anyone to pay attention to the scripts that I had written and that I was interested in to make, and I just could not get a job. So I started working as an assistant editor for a documentary company. And then I moved up to being an editor, and then eventually directed some shows for, of all things, the Animal Planet.
Really?
That is how I survived in my 20s.
Interesting.
Was from about 26 to 30. That is what I did to make a living. So I directed a fishing show for Animal Planet for a long time.
Yeah, and so at the during that time period, were you continuing to write or co-write scripts, or were you?
I was trying, but I have to admit that my life was getting a little off course in terms of what my passions were, because you were going, well, I can just keep doing this job, which is fun. Yeah, it pays decently enough. I can survive in a very expensive city like New York City, and I was relatively happy. And so there was that moment of going, well, is this going to be what I do with my life, or am I going to try to go back? So I started making. I decided to go make a short film just for fun, and I did. And that led me to Mark Bash, who is my co-writer. I read a short story of his and reached out to him to make it. And then eventually we made the film. We had a fun time making this thing together. And then I asked him to write I'll See You in My Dreams with me, which was an idea that I had kind of cooking in my brain, and he thankfully agreed, and we wrote I'll See You in My Dreams.
I love that movie. I love Sam Elliott and Blythe Danner. Actually, I saw that movie the night I broke my shoulder.
Oh no! Yes. Well, hopefully it helped the pain.
It was funny. I broke my shoulder, and I said to my girlfriend, "We're still going to the movies." And she said, "You don't want to go to the emergency room?" I said, "No, we're going to go see this movie." So I sat through it.
I take that as I hope it was worth it.
It was definitely worth it, but I was in a lot of pain. But it did help.
I'm sure.
Then I found out I ended up in the emergency room the next day with the broken shoulder. But anyhow, so I have fond memories of that movie. Actually,
yeah, you have memory. You certainly remember it.
I certainly do. So so tell me how you because you definitely, and this movie too, you have a great cast that you have. But how did you? Because that was your first major motion picture. Tell me how that came about, The Hero. I mean, I'll See You in My Dreams, Tell me how that came about.
Well, we wrote it, we wrote it, and it was very quick. It came together very quickly. We wrote it in about 2 weeks, And
wow.
I knew that I wanted Blythe Danner to be the lead. She was my number one choice for that role, and I had a minor connection to her manager, and so I sent it to him, and luckily he responded to it and said, I want Blythe to read this. And she did. But not knowing who I was, and also being, she would tell you, slightly intimidated by the idea of being 70 and having to be in every scene of a tiny independent film. This is not an easy thing to do. It's not only just practically is it exhausting to shoot every day. She's literally in every scene of that film.
Mm-hmm.
You're worried about what is this shoot going to look like? You know, she's used to big movies and television programs taking care of her and having nice trailers and a place for her to lie down at lunch. And these independent films, it can be a little scrappy, a little bit run and gun. She was a little concerned. And Blythe and I met, and she tells me now that which I tend to do, I was very overly enthusiastic, and she thought, oh boy, I don't know if I can keep up with this young man and his energy. But there was something there, and there was something about, the role that she couldn't say no to, so she did come on board. I somehow got it to Martin Starr. I couldn't tell you how, and he responded right away, so they got attached first. But, I've had this with almost all of my films, where then you get these great people, you've got a great script, and nobody wants to make it. Nobody's really all that interested in giving you the financing to go and do it, to actually do it. So we were kind of, up a creek without a paddle, so to speak. I didn't know if we were going to be able to pull it off. And what we did was a Kickstarter.
Oh.
It went out, I made a Kickstarter video with Martin. We put it up, I think it was for $65,000, which would only cover about, 20% of the budget, or not even, maybe 15% of the budget. And we got the money. It was a very difficult month for me getting that. I ran that campaign, and it was very, very, very challenging. But we got that money, and I asked a family friend to match it, basically. And they believed in me, and they agreed to invest the other half. So I had about $150,000, and I sort of just said, look, no matter what we get, let's just start moving forward and hope that we can get some more money as we move forward. And at that point, we started going out to actors. I was like, I'm just going to reach for the stars here. And I went, Sam Elliott, Rhea Perlman, Mary-Kate Place, June Squibb. Let's see what happens. And they all said yes.
Wow.
They responded to the script, and I just went, I can't believe this.
That is amazing. That's amazing. I want to hear more about this when we come back from the commercial break. You have been listening to The Jan Price Show, all about movies on Power Talk 1460 and 101 FM. Like The Jan Price Show on Facebook and check out thejanpriceshow.com. The Ozio Theater in downtown Monterey is now open every day, showing independent and foreign films. The Ozio Theater has new concession offerings, including beer, wine, hard cider, and their homemade Lush Slush. You can now schedule private event screenings for community charity events, birthdays, anniversaries, or just a fun gathering of friends. For more information, visit the Ozio Theater online at oziotheater.com.
Garnet Lash Studio, located in Monterey and San Diego, offers the best lash artists in their cities. Each lash artist is trained and endorsed by Garnet Lash Academy. Training includes lifetime access to online modules and videos, a toolkit, and discounts on the best tools available. To book an appointment, go to garnetlash.com. For information on training, go to garnetlashacademy.com. Be sure to check out what their customers have to say on Yelp by searching Garnet Lash Studios.
Tired of looking at your worn wood floors? Mr. Sandless can bring them back to life again. That's right. It's Mr. Sandless, the no sanding solution to beautiful wood floors. Mr. Sandless is clean, efficient, contains no harmful chemicals, and is certified green. Mr. Sandless refinishes all hardwoods, softwoods, engineered flooring, and laminates. Most jobs are completed in one day with no cleanup required ever, with virtually no odor, and is safe for pets and kids. No need to move out out, or even leave the house. Mr. Sandless is the company that invented Sandless Refinishing and is the largest floor refinishing company in the world. Over 120,000 happy customers, guaranteed adhesion, guaranteed satisfaction, and a 5-year warranty. Call Mr. Sandless today at 831-747-7476. That's 747-7476. Or MrSandless.com. That's MrSandless.com.
On Power Talk AM 1460 and FM 101.1. Streaming worldwide on iHeartRadio. Jan Price talks to the movers and shakers in the film business. The Jan Price Show.
We are back, and my guest today is writer-director Brett Haley, and we're going to be talking about his brand new movie, Hearts Beat Loud. And Brett, before the commercial break, you were telling me your dream cast that you had, and everyone said yes?
Yeah, when Sam Elliott agrees to do your movie, suddenly things get very real.
Yes.
And I just remember going, oh my goodness, I can't believe I think we're actually going to pull this off. And that was the beginning of, as they say, a beautiful friendship with Sam, where we met. And he was quite perplexed by me because I was a 30-year-old guy who had written a movie about a 70-year-old widow who starts dating again. And he was like, what is going on with you? Why did you write this movie? And I said, well, I was looking into the themes of this film are really important to me, about grief and loss and not giving up and wanting to continue to try and engage in a meaningful way in your life at no matter what point. And to me, the best vehicle for that was Blythe's character, Carol Peterson. And so I was shocked, and because all these amazing actors agreed, and that should go to show you what a lack of what they would consider good material was coming their way, that they agreed to do this kind of tiny, nothing movie with a nobody, me. They all believed in me, and we met, and they all agreed to do it, and suddenly the financing started to come together. A wonderful actress named Malin Ackerman came on, and that really helped push it over the edge for us, and then suddenly we had a little bit of money to go make this movie, and we did. And I edited the film while I was still working on the Animal Planet show. I was still working on the Animal Planet show because I didn't get paid. I got paid a grand total of $0 to direct I'll See You in My Dreams. It was pure passion, and I lived off of a credit card for months to make that film, and then went back to work to try and pay off those credit cards, and then I submitted to Sundance, and to my great surprise, we got in.
Amazing. What a wonderful story. So how was it received at Sundance?
Well, overall, I think people loved it, but it was sort of a weird indie movie. It doesn't quite feel like your average quote-unquote independent film. It doesn't certainly spring to your mind, that films about older people were not being made in the independent space at that time. They seem to be a quite regular thing now, and maybe it has something to do with the success of I'll See You in My Dreams, but it just was unlike anything else there, for better or worse. And I wasn't getting any sort of quote-unquote cool points for making a movie about a 70-year-old widow. It wasn't a quote-unquote cool movie. But it was critically well received. It did get picked up for distribution by a wonderful company named Bleecker Street. And they put the film out in May. And to everyone's surprise, the movie made a lot of money.
Yeah. Well,
for an independent film, it made a lot of money anyway.
You know what I find interesting, and this is a conversation, we're having more and more. We call it, movies for grown-ups, that I just love, small independent films. I mean, that's what my passion is. That's why I love going to film festivals and finding little nuggets, that you discover them before everybody else discovers these wonderful films. But I think you're right. I mean, look at the new success of the new movie Book Club, with a great cast again, of wonderful actresses, Jane Fonda and Candice Bergen and Mary Steenburgen and, why am I missing the other actress's name? It'll come to me. Anyhow, and it's a wonderful movie, full of laughs and a lot of adult humor. So
Diane Keaton, I think.
Diane Keaton. Thank you. Yes, thank you. How could I forget Diane Keaton?
That one little known actor Diane Keaton.
Yeah, that little, she didn't do much in her career.
That's right.
But it's great, and I wrote, and I do movie reviews also, so I will be doing one on Hearts Beat Loud. But I talked about that because the material was good, but it could have been better. And so I said, it just shows the skill of these fine actresses that they can take the material and really make it a wonderful, fun film, So
and I don't know the inner workings of what that film was, but that is a studio film. It is sort of going to play to the safer elements, the softer, safer elements. And I'll See You in My Dreams didn't. While it sort of had its cake and ate it too, it did play in that wish fulfillment space, but it also played in some reality, in some things that kept it from being book club, kept it from being sort of a massive wide release, but more of a specialty release. But audiences that saw it, it drove word of mouth. That movie was not in more than 200 screens, and yet it still managed to make almost $8 million, which is quite a feat.
Amazing.
In this current climate.
Yes.
And it was a great experience for me. And I was so proud of the performances in that film, especially Blythe. And a really special performance in that film that does not get talked about enough for me is Martin Starr. I think he is just incredible in that film. And obviously Blythe is the star of the show, but Martin has such heart and vulnerability and beauty in that film, and I think it's a very surprising performance coming from him. But obviously, when you're dealing with a cast of that level, it was just incredible. And then that led me to fall in love with the one and only Mr. Sam Elliott.
Yes, we all love Sam Elliott. Who doesn't love Sam Elliott? And I love your other movie, The Hero. So we'll segue into that. Before I do that, though, when you are doing an independent film and you didn't have a lot of money, and these actors sign on, how do you work out the salary with them? Because they're used to making, a lot of money. So do they take like a percentage after the film's made, or how does that all work?
Well, fortunately for me, Jen, that is not my job, which I love.
You have somebody else who deals with that.
The producers and the agents deal with all of that, and I'm very much not involved in that. But what's great is that SAG, the Screen Actors Guild, has different levels of sort of minimum pay for various budget levels. They say, look, if this is your budget level, this is the minimum, SAG minimum, you have to pay an actor daily to show up on your movie. And there are certain rules. You can't go into overtime. If you do, you've got to pay them. You can't break lunch rules. SAG really does a great job of protecting their members. And obviously all the actors in this film were SAG members, so we had a minimum that we had to hit. And luckily for us, we were dealing with a bunch of very generous, amazing people who were not doing I'll See You in My Dreams for the money, to get rich. They were doing it for the, for the love, of the project. And I think that it just goes to show you that they really, really wanted to do this particular material. It was not about the pay. But obviously there are different ways that you can get back-end pay. And because the film was so successful, I'm pretty sure that all of the actors made more money than they would have thought they would have made when they signed up. But no one was looking to kind of get rich quick on that film. They had a passion for it, just like me. I did the film for no salary, and I did it because again, it's going back to me as a kid. I just liked making stuff. Right.
Well, it's a lovely movie. And now, where can people see this? Is this on Netflix or iTunes, or where is this movie?
It's on iTunes as well. It was on Starz streaming for a while. I don't know that it is anymore, but I'm sure another streaming service will pick it up at some point. But it's certainly on iTunes and DVD and Blu-ray, and on you can find it in all the regular venues. I don't know if it's streaming at the moment. It might. Nope. The last I heard, it was on Starz. It was on Amazon Prime for a long time, then Starz, and so it still could be there, but you can definitely get it on iTunes.
On iTunes. Okay, great. So let's segue into I'll See You in My Dreams to Another wonderful movie with a brilliant performance. And in my review, I said, I hope the Oscars, take note. And, because the movie came out earlier in the year, and you know how that is. If you do a fine performance earlier in the year, you're not always recognized. And unfortunately, Sam Elliott was not, but his work should have been recognized with an Oscar nomination. I thought he did an amazing job in this movie. So how did this script come to back? After you met Sam Elliott, did you just write a role specifically for him?
Yes.
All right.
As simple as that. I sort of fell in love with Sam. We became very close. We were close during the film, but obviously I was, he did about maybe 6 days on the film, and I loved working with him. But we became very close in the press, doing press for the film. You're kind of in weird places, and we were in Miami and Seattle and all these kind of different towns, just the two of us. And so, of course, we had some martinis, we had some steak dinners, we talked about life. I listened to this great man who's had an amazing career, who is an incredible person, an incredible family man, married to Catherine Ross for 40 years or something.
Yeah, for a long time.
Has a wonderful daughter, Cleo, and I just came to really, respect and love him and learned about his career. And through those conversations, I said, I'm going to write you something, man. And he said, oh, well, okay, I'll believe it when I see it. And Mark and I, we did. We went off and we wrote The Hero, which was, initially we were going to do it as a television show. And it was going to be a little lighter and weirder, but still have those depths. But we were going to have more time to go on little tangents and things. And we sort of saw it as a 6-episode type of thing, and to see if someone would want to pick that up. And Sam then signed on to do The Ranch, so it was very difficult to get him to attach to another TV show officially per his contract with Netflix. So I talked to him, I talked to his team, and they said, why don't you just write a movie version of this? And I said, okay. And we wrote the movie, and we sent it to him and his team, and he said yes. And that was the easiest movie I've ever had come together in terms of financing. As soon as Sam said yes, we were in business, basically, and we had investors who wanted to be on board, and we went and we made that film.
Wow, and how did that film do financially?
It did very well as well. We went to Sundance again. We sold to a company called The Orchard, which did a wonderful job distributing the film.
Love The Orchard.
And it made about $4.5 million domestically, which is a wonderful number for the price that we made it for. It did find an audience. It was sort of a slow burn all summer. People were rediscovering it, getting great word of mouth. And it has done incredibly well from what I've heard on DVD and streaming and video on demand. It did incredibly well. And that is currently streaming on Hulu for anybody that wants to watch that film. Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about the plot is for The Hero for our listeners who have not seen the film.
Well, the Hero is about an aging actor named Lee Hayden, who is known for one big Western film called The Hero. And he now makes his living doing barbecue sauce voiceovers for barbecue sauce commercials. And he's sort of living in a bit of a rut. He smokes pot too much, drinks a little bit too much, and he finds out that he has terminal cancer. And it is about trying to heal the wounds that he has caused with the people in his life and within himself as he kind of faces the end of his life. And there is a surprising and, interesting love story at the center of that film between him and Laura Prepon, a character played by Laura Prepon. So it deals with legacy. It deals with sort of what it means to have lived a full life. Success. What does success really mean at the end of the day? These were some questions that I was asking myself, and I thought Sam was a great sort of inspiration to explore those themes.
He really is. It was tailor-made for him, and obviously you did make it tailor-made for him. We're going to be right back after these brief messages. You're listening to The Jan Price Show on Power Talk 1460 and 101 FM. Like The Jan Price Show on Facebook and check out thejanpriceshow.com.
Have you ever dreamed of doing commercials or movies? Your dream starts with a desire. And if you have a desire to do commercials and feature films, we want to know about you. We're Moco Film, one of the Genesis companies that includes VoiceJock, a major provider of TV commercial talent to TV stations throughout the nation. Registering is free. Just go to mocofilm.com and fill out the information. That's MOCOfilm.com. You'll become part of a large talent bank available to producers. Go to mocofilm.com today and start living your dream.
The Century Theater at Northridge Mall is newly remodeled with luxury loungers in every auditorium. Oversized plush recliners are electric-powered reclining seats with extendable footrests, cup holders, and snack tables. Guaranteed comfort with all reserved seating. Reserve the best seat in town online at Cinemark.com or download the Cinemark app today. The Century Theater at Northridge Mall is newly remodeled.
Garnet Lash, located in Monterey and San Diego, offers the best lash artists in California. Each lash artist has been trained at the Garnet Lash Academy, so you can be sure that you are getting a lash artist that has the skill, artistry, and expertise to give you amazing results. Here are what some happy customers have to say about Garnet Lash.
My eyelashes are amazing. I've had so many compliments. People can't tell if they're real or fake. They're very natural looking. I hardly need makeup anymore. My eyes are so much brighter. I'm very happy with them, and I want them forever.
If you're looking for quality lashes and great service, this is the place to go. I love my eyelash extensions. I would recommend Garnet Lash to anyone who's interested in getting eyelash extensions dry. All the lash artists are professional, and it shows. They're awesome.
If you want your eyes to look fabulous morning till night, make an appointment today at garnetlash.com. That's garnetlash.com.
On Power Talk AM 1460 and FM 101.1, streaming worldwide on iHeartRadio. Jan Price talks to the movers and shakers in the film business. The Jan Price Show.
We are back, and my guest today is writer-director Brett Haley, and we're going to be talking about his new movie, Hearts Beat Loud. Brett, in just our last little segment, it came to my mind that you are probably an old soul if you were writing stories about the older generation. And I think that says a lot about who you are, that you have written two lovely movies that showcase some of our finer actors that are a little bit older in the world, and I love those performances and the wealth of experience that Blythe Danner and Sam Elliott and the rest of the cast brought to both of these movies. They're really wonderful films.
Well, thank you, and I think that's something that comes from me wanting to learn and be curious. It's a curiosity that drives me more than anything as a filmmaker. I don't make big plot, twisty, turny, high-concept films at this point in my career anyway. These three films, really four films, all of them kind of live in this world of what it means to be a good person who's trying their best in the real world. And whether that's a 70-year-old widow or a 22-year-old girl who's back home when she kind of doesn't want to be, or a aging movie star, or a father and daughter who start a band. I am looking to the real world with the normal everyday consequences and turmoil and speed bumps that come along with that. And I'm asking questions. I'm asking questions through themes about what it means to live this life, what it means to be a good person, what it means to fall in love, what it means to have dreams, what it means to look back on your life. To me, these are really important questions, and where they take me, I never know. I didn't know that I would make two films in a row that happened to, feature protagonists who were in their 70s, but that's where it took me, and I was okay with it. And now it's taken me kind of into this new direction, and with music and with this family story, and something that was a response to not only my previous films, but just the world in general. I wanted to put some joy and some goodness into the world, for lack of a better way to say it. I just wanted to put a little bit of sunshine into the world through this film. I still wanted to ask some serious questions. But, you know, and if that makes me an old soul, then I think so. But I look at it as being a very curious person who's asking kind of interesting questions about what it means to be alive.
Yeah, and curiosity is what keeps you going for the rest of your life, which is, the more curious you are, obviously the more interested you are in what's going on. And it's, I have this phrase, be curious, it's because that, especially as people get older and they stop being curious. And I think that's what's so wonderful and heartwarming about the hero and I'll See You in My Dreams is those people are still, vital and alive. And even though Sam Elliott's character in The Hero, but he comes to terms with things and later in his life. So it's always about so that comes through in your scripts about curiosity and being curious. It's just a real important aspect of living, I think.
Always... and having hope. I
yes.
believe in hope.
I do too.
I believe no matter how dark it gets, that there's hope and there's a way to continue to live a full life through pain and through sorrow and facing death. We're all facing death.
Right.
So to get up every day and make the most of it is difficult at times, and you can get into existential crises, and you can start thinking too much about certain things. There's a lot of darkness in the world. There's a lot of, everyone has to deal with their own demons, and I think that we need hope. And I've been criticized as being too easy on my characters or something to the effect of that because, and someone kind of beautifully wrote it, said he's easy on his characters because he loves them. I'm okay with that right now.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that right now, and I'm okay with making a film that makes people feel good and and loves my characters and tries to make them be the best that they can be. That's inspiring to me. And I'm not going to apologize for not being cool or not being edgy enough or whatever. With these particular group of films, it's what's come from me and my co-writer Mark, from our hearts and from our gut. And we have other things that we are going to do that I think will surprise people. But these 4 films were kind of an ilk and of an era in my career where this is what type of film I wanted to put into the world. And I'm very proud of putting that kind of energy out. I believe in energy going in and out and sharing it with people. And films are a place where you can go and feel empathy for people and feel hope and feel something and take that with you, I hope, into your life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, beautifully said, and you're entirely right. I talk about this a lot. When we go to the movies, we want to be moved in some way, whatever it is. If it's a comedy, we want to be laughing, or inspired, or cry. I mean, whatever it is, that we're moved in some way.
In a horror movie,
yeah, all of it, and
we
then
want to feel something.
Exactly.
But every movie can. Movies, the thing that's great about them is, right, you can have a superhero movie, you can have a horror movie, you can have an action movie, you can have a drama, a comedy, something in between. You can do all of these things, but it's about when you care. And there seems to be an outward sort of perspective that movies need to have a certain heaviness about them or a certain amount of conflict. I don't necessarily buy into that. I look at Richard Linklater, some of his great films, and they just feel good. They just make you feel something. There's so much emotional depth and feeling within them, but there isn't necessarily this heaviness or this sort of faux conflict that I think so many screenwriting books tell you must be in your story, or redemption, or not every movie has to follow that line.
No.
There's room, I think, to breathe and have characters exist and grow in different and unique and realistic ways. And I think that's something that Mark and I have just kind of naturally gravitated.
Well, with everything that's going on in the world today and everyone's lives, full of, trials and tribulations, we go to the movies to escape. And
absolutely,
it takes us away for 2 hours from what's going on in our lives. And we go to escape and we want to be entertained. And so when we find a movie that inspires us and makes us feel good when we walk out, gosh, there's nothing better than that. I think you've really achieved what you're supposed to do. Yeah.
It's like you can go to the Avengers and escape in that way.
Yes.
Escape in a sort of relatively mindless way. And you can also escape by going to see a film like Hearts Beat Loud, which I hope makes you feel things and has emotional depth. And not that the new Avengers, by the way, had a ton of emotional depth. It was quite emotional.
It did.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for that reason more, because I actually started going, oh my goodness, I care. I care about these characters, and they've done such a wonderful job building them up over the years, and then suddenly they're at risk, and that means something. The feeling of emotions, just because something is a feel-good movie doesn't make it slight, doesn't make it cotton candy. But there is a place for that. There's a place for movies that just simply, with characters who are struggling, and then redeem themselves in some way. Because isn't that what we all want to do in our lives? Don't we all want to be better? Yeah. Better parents, better daughters, better sons, better friends, better lovers. I just try to put that into my films, because as human beings, we all are trying. We really are. We really are. And I think that it is a difficult journey. And I like to show that sort of growth and hope by the end of the story.
I totally agree with you. So let's talk a little bit about, it leads us right into Hearts Beat Loud. Hearts Beat Loud. Tell me this, so the listeners know a little bit about the plot. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it, and also how this one came into being after you did The Hero.
Well, Hearts Beat Loud is about a father and daughter, played by Nick Offerman and Kiersey Clemons, who start a sort of impromptu band in the last summer before she is set to go all the way across the country to UCLA for pre-med school. And it all takes place in Red Hook, Brooklyn, which is a really lovely and amazing neighborhood in Red Hook, where On the Waterfront took place many years ago.
Wow, I didn't know.
It's obviously very different now, and it's one of my favorite neighborhoods. I live very near Red Hook, spend a lot of time there at a lot of the locations we shot at. And the film is about Nick's character, who is a record store owner, and his record store is failing. He's not putting much effort into it anymore. He's a widower, and his daughter is about to leave the nest. And they have an impromptu jam session, which is something that they have done over the years, because Nick's character was once a almost successful musician. And they work together on a song called Hearts Beat Loud. And Nick, without his daughter's knowledge, uploads it to the streaming service, Spotify, and to their surprise, it gets picked up on one of the big playlists on Spotify, and then it sort of begins to cause some conflict and questioning between them about kind of, should I stay, should I go? Sam, who is played by Kiersey Clemons, also falls in love with a character named Rose, played by the wonderful Sasha Lane, and that is something else that is maybe keeping her from leaving the nest, leaving home. So it deals with a lot of different things about dreams, about the creative process, about what it means to be a family, and about what it means to let go.
Wonderful themes, all of them. We're going to talk more about Hearts Beat Loud after these brief commercial messages. You are listening to The Jan Price Show, all about movies on Power Talk 1460 and 101 FM. Like The Jan Price Show on Facebook and check out thejanpriceshow.com. The Ozio Theater in downtown Monterey is now open every day, showing independent and foreign films. The Ozio Theater has new concession offerings, including beer, wine, hard cider, and their homemade Lush Slush. You can now schedule private event screenings for community charity events, birthdays, anniversaries, or just a fun gathering of friends. For more information, visit the Ozio Theater online at oziotheater.com.
Tired of looking at your worn wood floors? Mr. Sandless can bring them back to life again. That's right. It's Mr. Sandless, the no sanding solution to beautiful wood floors. Mr. Sandless is clean, efficient, contains no harmful chemicals, and is certified green. Mr. Sandless refinishes all hardwoods, softwoods, engineered flooring, and laminates. Most jobs are completed in one day with no cleanup required ever, with virtually no odor, and is safe for pets and kids. No need to move out out or even leave the house. Mr. Sandless is the company that invented Sandless Refinishing and is the largest floor refinishing company in the world. Over 120,000 happy customers, guaranteed adhesion, guaranteed satisfaction, and a 5-year warranty. Call Mr. Sandless today at 831-747-7476. That's 747-7476. Or MrSandless.com. That's MrSandless.com.
Garnet Lash Studio, located in Monterey and San Diego, offers the best lash artists in their cities. Each lash artist is trained and endorsed by Garnet Lash Academy. Training includes lifetime access to online modules and videos, a toolkit, and discounts on the best tools available. To book an appointment, go to GarnetLash.com. For information on training, go to GarnetLashAcademy.com. Be sure to check out what their customers have to say on Yelp by searching Garnet Lash Studios.
On Power Talk AM 1460 and FM 101.1, streaming worldwide on iHeartRadio. Jan Price talks to the movers and shakers in the film business. The Jan Price Show.
We are back, and my guest today is writer-director Brett Haley, and we're talking about his brand new movie, Hearts Beat Loud. Again, you attracted an amazing cast. You have Nick Offerman, who I just adore. He gave a speech at the Women's March at Sundance that was one of the most eloquent, heartfelt, beautiful speeches that I've heard in a long, long time. It was just a wonderful speech. And then you've got Kiersey Clemons, who's an up-and-coming actress, and then veterans such as Toni Collette and Ted Danson and Blythe Danner again. So tell us how you attracted this cast to this particular project.
Well, every person has their kind of own unique, story of how they ended up in this film. Nick Offerman was in The Hero. He played a supporting role. He played Sam Elliott's best friend in that film.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Much like coming from I'll See You in My Dreams and into The Hero with Sam, we also went with Nick Offerman and wrote this for him and put this into his, wrote this part of Frank Fisher for Nick Offerman. So that's how he came on board. And then Kiersey and Sasha were kind of found through casting and people that I admired for a long time and knew that I wanted them for the roles. And then Toni Collette I met at Sundance when I was there with The Hero, and she was there with a movie called Fun Mom Dinner. We met on the dance floor, actually, at a party, and I just gushed and gushed and gushed about how much I loved her and wanted to find something. And it just so happened she was available and coming off of Hereditary.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that.
And she said she needed a break from the sort of darkness and wanted to do this film, and it was a perfect sort of remedy for that. And then Ted Danson is a good friend of Nick Offerman, and Nick actually just texted Ted and said, "Will you come play my bartender buddy in this movie?" And without even reading the script, Ted said, "I will."
I love Ted Danson. Years ago, I was in Three Men and a Baby with Ted Danson, and he was absolutely amazing. At the wrap party, he was still on Cheers, and he got behind the bar at the wrap party and was serving everyone drinks, and just fun as he could be. And during the breaks and filming, he would talk to the crew. He'd be out there kibitzing, just really, really a genuinely nice man. I have such great respect, and I've seen him through the years at other things, when he's talking about the oceans and at various fundraisers and things like that. And he's just really just an amazing, wonderful man. And Mary Steenburgen, his wife, is also really quite lovely too. So they're a great couple.
I co-sign this.
Yeah.
Ted was such a lovely human being, more lovely than you even think he's going to be.
Yes.
And what a wonderful actor. And he gets to have so much fun in this movie. It's such a fun role for him, and he really relished playing this guy, and he gets back behind the bar.
I know.
In this movie.
He can't get behind me. He keeps being behind that bar. Go on.
He hasn't done it since Cheers, and so it was a big deal for me to do it. And of course, Ted is the kind of guy who didn't see it as a big deal. I just went, "Oh no, it's no big deal." And I said, "Well, everybody else is going to think it's a big deal,
right?"
And I certainly think it's a big deal. But he's lovely, and we had so much fun shooting with him. He actually shot the first 2 days of our shoot, and it was. I was very sad when he had to go. It was sort of similar as what happened with Nick on The Heroes. We shot with him early on, and then he had to go. And I said, "Oh, I miss Nick."
Yeah.
And I miss Ted, and he's just been so lovely and fun, and he got to go to Sundance with the movie and see the movie for the first time. In fact, my whole cast saw the movie for the first time at Sundance. It was a really wonderful experience, and we all bonded over it. And I think the energy of this movie really sort of captured all of our hearts. We really just all came together and just said, man, like we had our premiere recently, and Tony was there. It was the first time Tony had seen it with an audience, and she came up afterwards, and she just was so moved by this and saying, this is just what people need right now. It was what I needed right now. And she was like thanking me for making it. And I'm like, you're in the movie. You're such a big part of it. So it's just been a kind of a love fest between me and my cast on this one.
Just going to say that.
They responded to this. They responded to this in a way that I hope audiences respond to it, at least in theory, to say, you know what? I want to go see something that makes me feel good.
Yes.
I think that there's real value in that. And I think that we all wanted to make something that made us feel good too, and it did.
And
we had such a wonderful, fun, and lovely shoot. It was so much fun working with everyone on this film.
And you're right, when you're working with actors that just have this wonderful energy, like a Nick Offerman and a Ted Danson and Toni Collette, you know, you do, I'm sure, miss that energy after they leave. We're going to be right back after these brief messages. You are listening to The Jan Price Show, all about movies on Power Talk 1460 and 101 FM. Like The Jan Price Show on Facebook and check out thejanpriceshow.com.
Garnet Lash, located in Monterey and San Diego, offers the best lash artists in California. Each lash artist has been trained at the Garnet Lash Academy, so you can be sure that you are getting a lash artist that has the skill, artistry, and expertise to give you amazing results. Here are what some happy customers have to say about Garnet Lash.
My eyelashes are amazing. I've had so many compliments. People can't tell if they're real or fake. They're very natural looking. I hardly need makeup anymore. My eyes are so much brighter. I'm very happy with them, and I want them forever.
If you're looking for quality lashes and great service, this is the place to go. I love my eyelash extensions and would recommend Garnet Lash to anyone who's interested in getting eyelash extensions dry. All the lash artists are professional, and it shows. They're awesome.
If you want your eyes to look fabulous morning till night, make an appointment today at garnetlash.com. That's garnetlash.com. Have you ever dreamed of doing commercials or movies? Your dream starts with a desire. And if you have the desire to do commercials and feature films, we want to know about you. We're Moco Film, one of the Genesis companies that includes VoiceJock, a major provider of TV commercial talent to TV stations throughout the nation. Registering is free. Just go to mocofilm.com and fill out the information. That's MOCOfilm.com. You'll become part of a large talent bank available to producers. Go to mocofilm.com today and start living your dream.
The Century Theater at Northridge Mall is newly remodeled with luxury loungers in every auditorium. Oversized plush recliners are electric-powered reclining seats with extendable footrests, cup holders, and snack tables. Guaranteed comfort with all reserved seating. Reserve the best seat in town online at Cinemark.com or download the Cinemark app today. The Century Theater at Northridge Mall is newly remodeled.
On Power Talk AM 1460 and FM 101.1, streaming worldwide on iHeartRadio. Jan Price talks to the movers and shakers in the film business. The Jan Price Show.
We are back, and my guest today is writer-director Brett Haley, and we're talking about his brand new movie, Hearts Beat Loud. And Brett, we only have about 2 minutes left, but I do want to know, are you now going to write a movie for Ted Danson?
I would love to. I've got to figure out what that movie would be. And Ted, because The Good Place is such a huge success, he's a busy man these days. But
yes,
I would love to work with Ted again, Tony, Kirsty, Sasha, Blythe, of course, who I brought back for this film, Nick. I would do I want to work with Sam Elliott again. I really do fall in love with my actors. I like to consider myself an actor's director.
That's great.
And I just love working with my friends, people who I respect, who know me, who trust me, who know that, I'm not going to lead them astray, that I'm going to take care of them and let them do their best work. And I I like to think that my sets are a fun, collaborative, and fulfilling place to be, place to work.
Wonderful. That really is beautiful. Really, it's the way it should be, right?
It should be, yes.
It should be.
It isn't always.
No.
My set so far, so good.
So you're developing a good reputation in the community, so more and more people will want to continue to work with you, I'm sure. What do you have coming up next?
Well, there's a couple things that could or couldn't happen. That's kind of your life as a director. You're sort of waiting to see what's real, what's not real. Mark and I already have 2 scripts that are done that we are kind of open to making either one of them. And there's also something else that I'm thinking about doing as something that I did not write. So there's a lot kind of happening. I will say, though, whatever movie I end up making next, I think is going to be a sea change for me as a director. Mm-hmm. I think that I will end up going into more turbulent and question territory, and I think that's just sort of natural with the 4 films that I've made. I do want to kind of try my hand at some different types of films. So that's my goal, is to kind of change it up and spread my wings and see if I can fly.
No, that's great. It's the way it should be. So it's a wonderful. Well, everyone, please go see Hearts Beat Loud. It will put a smile on your face. There's wonderful music. We didn't even get to talk about Keegan DeWitt's score and the 2 original songs, unfortunately, but it's a wonderful, fun, lighthearted, inspirational movie. So go see Hearts Beat Loud. Brett, thank you so much for being on the show. It's been a wonderful interview, and I look forward to having you back on with your next movie.
Thank you, Jan. This was really lovely, and thank you for the thoughtful and engaging conversation. That's always a treat.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You have a great day.
Thank you very much, Jan. You too.
Thank you. You've been listening to The Jan Price Show, all about movies on Power Talk 1460 and 101 FM. Like The Jan Price Show on Facebook and check out thejanpriceshow.com.